Hello friends, welcome to the Success Samrat classes. Today we are going to discuss about the earthquake. Now friends, the standardized definition for the earthquake is an earthquake is a motion of the ground surface ranging from a faint tremor to a wild motion capable of shaking a building apart. The another definition for the earthquake is that the earthquake may be defined as vibrations caused by the movement under the crust, under the earth crust. So friends, from these two definitions, we can conclude that earthquake is an vibration which is generated beneath the earth surface or earth crust. Now friends, if we further expand this definition, an earthquake is an vibration or oscillation of the surface of the earth caused by elasticity or isostatic adjustments. Now, friends, there is a term called as isostatic equilibrium. Friends, isostatic equilibrium is the balancing of the forces which tend to elevate the landmass or which tend to depress the landmass. So this isostatic equilibrium establishes a balance between the two forces, one which tend to elevate the landmass and second which tend to depress the landmass and of the earth beneath the earth crust. So basically, the earthquake, in other words, can be explained as an earthquake is basically vibration of earth produced by rapid release of energy. Friends, this rapid release of energy can be explained by the elastic rebound theory given by Reed. Friends, according to this theory, if we stretch a rubber band and it is broken or cut, the elastic energy stored in the rubber band during the stretching will suddenly be released. Similarly, the crust of the earth can gradually store elastic energy and the stress that is released suddenly. Friends, if we stretch a um, rubber band to its utmost elasticity, and if we cut it from the middle, suddenly we feel a shock. That is called as elastic energy. In the same way, earthquake is generated. So, friends, there are two important points. One is focus, and second is epicenter. Now, friends, what is a focus? Focus is the place of occurrence of the earthquake, or in other words, we can say it is a place from where earthquake originate inside the earth. Now, now, friends, from focus, the earthquake originate in the form of wave, and these waves are very much similar to the waves which are generated in a compound when we throw a stone. As the stone strikes the water, a concentric rings are produced which travels in all the directions. When similar way, the waves are generated from the focus and they travel in the earth crust. Now, friends, there is a term called as epicenter. What is epicenter? The point which is vertically or perpendicular to the focus is called as epicenter. Now, friend, what are the causes for the earthquake? There are two causes for the earthquake. One is natural cause, and second is anthropogenic cause. Now, friend, what are natural cause? The natural cause are such as volcanic eruption, contraction of the earth, folding and faulting, and isostatic equilibrium. First, volcanic eruption. Whenever or wherever a volcano erupts, it generates vibration or waves, which results in the formation of earthquake. Second, I have said contraction of the earth. Earth is contracting since its birth. So it creates disturbance in the crust, which creates or which leads to the which brings earthquakes. Third, folding and faulting. There are two natural causes, which causes earthquake. Now, friend, there's a term called isostatic equilibrium. I have already explained you. Isostatic equilibrium is a force which balances two forces, one force which uplift the landmass and another force which depress the landmass. Now the question arises where these two landmass occur. Basically, it is believed that the upper shell of the earth crust is lighter and it is floating on a low denser seama and it tries to maintain the equilibrium. Therefore, an earthquake is caused whenever this equilibrium is disturbed. Friends, as I already explained, isostatic equilibrium is a balancing force which tends to balance uh, the upward movement, the upward liftment of landmass and depression of the landmass. Now, how it occurs? As we all know, the Earth crust is made up of Sial and it is floating on Sima. So, Sial, Sial is lighter and is floating on a low denser Sima, which tries to maintain equilibrium. So, when this equilibrium is disturbed, the earthquake is caused. Now, friends, earthquake caused by anthropogenic activities. Anthropogenic activities are man-made activities or human-created activities, such as when we do atomic bomb testing, if we create a heavy hydroelectric project, when we blast mountains for roads. So these type of activities done by man creates or brings or causes earthquake. Now, friends, what are seismic waves? The waves which are generated during an earthquake, they are called as seismic waves. Again, repeating the definition, the waves which are generated during an earthquake are called as seismic waves. And seismograph is the instrument which is used to record these seismic waves. And the recording from seismograph is called as seismogram. Now, friends, there are three types of waves generated during an earthquake. There are primary waves, secondary waves, and surface waves. Friends, now what are primary waves? The primary waves are also known as P waves and are analogous to sound waves. They are also longitudinal waves. The P waves have higher velocity in comparison to secondary waves and surface waves. The P waves can travel through both the mediums, that is solid as well as the liquid medium, and their speed is reduced in the liquid medium. So the P waves travel through the earth nearly twice as fast as the speed of S waves. So they are first to reach on seismograph. So the wave which first measured or mentioned on the seismograph is P waves. Now, friends, secondary waves. Now it comes secondary waves, transverse waves, distortional waves, or S waves. These are commonly called as S waves and are transverse waves analogous to the water ripples or light waves. The difference between transverse waves and secondary waves is that the transverse waves or the S waves are analogous to water ripples or light waves, whereas the primary waves are analogous to sound waves. Now, friends, I'm again repeating it. The secondary waves, transverse or distortion waves, these are commonly known as S waves and are transversal waves analogous to water ripples and light waves or light waves, where in the particle move here or where here basically the particle moves at a right angle to the ray or wave. Now, friends, the characteristic of S wave that they can be travel only the most important characteristic of S wave is that they can travel only through solid medium. They cannot pass through liquid medium, whereas the primary waves can travel through both the mediums, but the speed of primary waves is reduced or it get reduced in the liquid medium. So As we know that secondary waves can travel uh, through and only the solid medium. Since these waves do not pass through the interior of the earth, so it gives an idea about the mantle of the earth and core being liquid in nature. So if the wave which is coming to the earth's surface, it is P wave, because P wave can travel through both regions, liquid as well as solid regions, whereas the secondary waves can only travel through solid regions or solid mediums. Therefore, the secondary waves also give an idea about, also gives us an idea about that the core and mantle are in liquid state. A third type of waves are surface waves, long period waves, or L waves. These waves are also known as L waves, which originates when P wave hits the surface. So basically, these waves are always at the surface. These waves affect only the surface of the earth. Therefore, they causes most of the structural damage during an earthquake. So these waves are also called as long period waves because they cover or they travel through a long distance. So friends, the overall briefing about the seismic waves are the waves which are generated during a earthquake. They are recorded on a seismograph, and the seismograph is known as the pattern which is studied is known as seismogram. There are three types of seismic waves. First is primary wave, second is secondary wave, and third is surface wave. The primary wave is analogous to the sound waves. It, it is the fastest traveling wave in among these three, or we can say its velocity is highest among these three waves. The primary waves can pass through both the mediums, solid and liquid, whereas its speed is reduced in the liquid medium. The primary waves are the first wave which are marked over the seismograph. Now, friends, a briefing about secondary waves. Secondary waves are also known as S waves. They are analogous to water ripples or light waves. They are always moving in a right angle. The most important characteristic is that secondary wave can only move through solid medium. It shows that it gives us an idea about that core and mantle of the earth are in liquid states. Now, friend, the third waves is secondary waves or surface waves or long period waves. These waves generated when the P waves hits the earth surface. These waves causes maximum damage during an earthquake. So, or the maximum damage during the earthquake. So these waves are also called as long period waves as they cover a long distance. So these are all about seismic waves. Now friends, classification of the earthquake. We classify earthquake on the basis of two categories. On the basis first is the casualties and second the depth from where it is origin. So the first classification is based on classification based on the human casualties. The earthquake classified into three groups: moderately hazardous, highly hazardous, and most hazardous. Now, the moderate hazardous earthquake is that which affect below 50,000 or which has a casualties below the 50,000. Highly hazardous earthquake comes between 51,000 to 1 lakh, and most hazardous is the condition where the earthquake or where the casualty in earthquake exceeds the number of 1 lakh. Now, friend, we can classify earthquakes on the basis of their depth. So, on the basis of depth, there are three types of earthquake. First is moderate earthquake, second is intermediate earthquake, and third is defocused earthquake. First is moderate earthquake, which originates between 0 to 50 kilometers. Second is intermediate earthquake, which originates between 50 to 50 kilometers. And third is defocused earthquake or deep focus earthquake. This earthquake originates between 700 to 250 to 700 kilometers. This is the classification of the earthquake. Now, the distribution of the earthquake. So, friends, the earthquake, basically, the earthquake is, or we can say, 70% of earthquake is present in the circum-Pacific belt, which is also known as the Ring of Fire. It includes the area of, or this belt includes the area of Chile, California, Alaska, Japan, Philippines, New Zealand, etc. And this is the area also where there's highly active volcanoes are also found. In this area, there is also an isostatic disturbance, or we can say there's a disturbance in the isostatic equilibrium. The second area is mid-continental belt. The mid-continental belt, here we found the fold mountains with weak folding. This area accounts for 20 to 21% of the earthquakes of the world. The third region is the mid-Atlantic region. This belt records moderate to shallow focus earthquake. The earthquake in this region are caused due to divergent plate, mountain and faults and fractures. This belt extends from Iceland in the north to Buvantova Island in the south. So most of the earthquakes occur near the equator. So these are the three regions where earthquakes are, or where earthquakes mainly occur. So friends, if we go by the brief discussion, or if we just summarize this whole topic, what is earthquake? Earthquake occurs, the occurrence of vibration in the earth is called as earthquake. Simple, in a simple or layman terms, okay, these vibration originate from a point which is called as focus, and the point which is perpendicular to the focus is called as epicenter. But earthquake also occurs because of disturbance in the isostatic equilibrium. Isostatic equilibrium is a force which balances two forces, one which is responsible for the upliftment of the landmass and another force which tends to depress the landmass. Now friends, landmass. Now there's a theory called as elastic rebound theory. According to this theory, if we stretch uh, a rubber band to its utmost limit, and if we cut it from the middle, or it breaks down, we feel a shock. That shock is just like that shock, the earthquakes are created and beneath the earth surface. It means that earthquake travels in the form of waves. Now, the earthquake waves are known as seismic waves, and they are recorded on a seismograph. The seismic waves are of three types: primary, secondary, and surface wave. Primary waves has highest velocity, and it can travel through solid as well as liquid mediums. And the primary waves are first recorded in the seismograph. Secondary waves travels only through liquid medium, only through a liquid medium, and it tells, or it gives an idea that mantle and core of the earth are liquid in nature. The surface waves originates when primary waves hits the earth crust or the surface. They cause major destruction on the earth or on the surface, and they are also called as long waves because they travel through a long distance. And now we classified the earthquake on the basis of casualties and based on depth. Casualty, it can be moderate casualties, which is below 50,000, highly hazardous casualty in which 50 to 1 lakh people are affected, and most hazardous condition in which people above 1 lakh are affected. Second is the classification of earthquake based on the depth. That is, first is moderate depth, where ordinary earthquake or its focus point is between 0 to 50 kilometers. Second is intermediate state, where uh, where the earthquake occurs between 50 to 250 kilometers. And third is defocus or defocus earthquake, which originate between 50 to 700 kilometers. Then we studied about the distribution of distribution of the earthquake. 70% of earthquake occur in the circum-Pacific belt. Then 21 to 21% earthquake occurs in the mid-continental belt, and remaining earthquake occur, remaining about 2 to 3% occur in the mid-Atlantic ridge. So here is all about the earthquake. Thank you.